Hello, everyone. Ty Walden here from the Broncos Fanzone interview. Today, I have a special guest, CBS 4's Romi Bean. How are you doing today?
What's up, Ty? I'm so happy to be here. We've been trying to do this for a really long time, so we finally made it happen. I'm excited about it.
Yes, very excited about that. It's just life's been challenging for us trying to get together, but I'm really glad with everything that's going on, we're finally able to do this.
Finally able to do this, and hey, the Broncos game got pushed back, and it made it all happen. So maybe that's a benefit, a silver lining to the Broncos game being pushed to Monday night.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, my first question is about the last game we played. So we got a big win over the Jets. What stood out to you most in that game?
You know, a few things stood out. Bradley Chubb had his breakout game of the year, and that was huge for his confidence, one, and two, for the entire defense. You know, they've been looking for someone to lean on, to look to as a leader. That guy was obviously going to be Von Miller, but he got hurt. So then maybe it was going to be Cortland Sutton on offense or Phillip Lindsay. Those guys got hurt. So, and the biggest thing with these guys is they'll all tell you they feel like they can be leaders when their on-field play is at their peak. And so for Bradley to have a game like that, you know, he's a natural leader in the locker room. Now everyone can kind of really follow in his guidance. I think the other thing too with that though was Vic Fangio was putting more pressure on the quarterback, and that allowed Bradley Chubb to get a little bit looser and a little bit freer on the edge. So hopefully they will do that moving forward. I know Vic Fangio's a big fan of, you know, having 6 DBs back there, but they look good pressuring, and Shelby Harris up the middle is a huge threat. So I hope that they will continue to do that. I think that was one big thing I got. And the other thing was, you know, I was just impressed with Brett Rippon's composure. For me, when I saw Brett Rippon, I said, I hope the Broncos realize they found a backup. This guy is a perfect backup. He is your Gary Kubiak to your John Elway. So hopefully they can keep him around. I think he's a really smart guy. I think he's the perfect backup, the guy you want to put in for 2 games if your quarterback can't play for some reason. So I was really impressed with Rippon, and I hope he sticks around as the backup for a while.
It's funny you mentioned about Brett Rippon, because it actually was my second question. I wanted to see what was it about his game that was impressive to you, and you kind of just hit it right nail in the coffin right there with that one. Yeah, Brett Rippon looked really good. Of course, we know he had those turnovers that kind of like helped New York get into the game a little bit, but I mentioned this on a podcast I was on last week, that I think he was able to, like you said, gain his composure and not let those interceptions rattle him. And he was able to, literally right after the Jets took the lead, was able to go down the field and allow McManus to go get the go-ahead field goal.
Right. And that was the big thing. Yeah, he threw 3 interceptions, but the way he rebounded was huge, because normally you see these guys just start to crumble. And we have seen it the past, 5 years in Denver, seen one guy after the next just crumble, and you can see them losing all of their confidence. So for Rippon to stay that composed after making some really big mistakes was really impressive, because that you don't teach that, you just have that. You have that or you don't, you know, and to then rally this team and lead a fourth quarter go-ahead drive, it was huge. The other thing with Brett Rippon is that he took some huge hits. You know, and of course towards the end of the game as well, but he got back up. You know, he's not the biggest guy, but he got back up every single time, and a lot of his teammates commended him on that. So he showed everything. He's got the guts, he's got the smarts, and you know, a guy that you want backing up your starter, really.
Yeah, especially on that the last touchdown that Gordon ran with that big block he threw.
That was the best. I was like, Brett Rippon, MVP.
So we are 25% of the way done the season, with as crazy as this year has been. I think that win against the Jets kind of gave them that momentum to hopefully get something going for these next 4 set of games. So do you believe that our games against the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Falcons, do you think those 4 games will play a huge part in this season becoming more of a make it or break it?
Absolutely. I mean, the truth is why football's so exciting is every game counts the same. You know, it doesn't matter when you get those wins, but every win, every loss, it counts the same. And so I think that, look, beating the Chiefs is going to be a very tall task. They are just unbelievable. Beating the Patriots is going to be tough because of Bill Belichick. You know, he's proving to everyone that he is the brilliant mind with or without Tom Brady. But I think against the Dolphins and against the Falcons, the Broncos, I think, have a plenty good chance and can absolutely compete. They may get a few more healthy bodies back, and just start racking up those wins would be huge, you know, because of all the injuries, because of the way this season has gone. It's nothing like what the Broncos were expecting. So now that they have that first win under their belt, to start tacking them on a few would be huge. Now, if you go 0-4 in that next break you're talking about, that's just devastating, because then it makes it really hard for guys to get up for the last quarter of the season, to really feel motivated, especially when there aren't 76,000 fans cheering you on. So getting a few wins, no matter how many they are, just even intermittently, is huge to keeping this team motivated, keeping this team going all year, especially because a lot of their stars, they're not going to get back for the full year. So every win you can tack on is huge. It's instrumental.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. New England will definitely be a huge task. It doesn't even, like, Tom Brady could be back there, could be Cam Newton, it could be any quarterback. Just the fact that Belichick has that mind of a intelligent NFL head coach is going to be really big. And of course, the Chiefs have won the division the past 4 or 5 years since we won the Super Bowl, so it's still going to be tough. But I think it's definitely possible that we can get something going. I'm hoping we can get something going these next 4 games.
I definitely think they can. And even, you know, you look at the Patriots, I mean, it's anyone's game. And even I know they say there are no moral victories, but keeping these games close, the way that they play when they go and they look at how they played, you know, they can see inside the building that they did a really good job, that they were competing with, hey, let's face it, a lot of second stringers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, like you said, the Patriots, the Chiefs, those are going to be tough games. So if you can grab a Miami game, if you can grab the Falcons, those are key to keeping your momentum and just keeping yourself going and motivated. Because the truth is, there's an extra the playoff brackets are bigger this year. There's that 7th team that can make it. So there's no reason saying if the Broncos couldn't rattle off a couple wins, that they grab that 7th spot, and then, you know, then it's anything goes once playoffs start. So the fact that Drew Lock's coming back, I think, is going to change a lot of things too. I think that's really going to galvanize the team and fire them up. And especially if he comes back in that Miami game, it seems like the perfect recipe to kind of start turning the tide.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be really helpful to have him come back, especially before the bye, so that way he can at least get that momentum going that he was able to do well with in Tennessee, but just it seemed like it came to a halt in Pittsburgh when he got hurt. So I think getting him in there for that game or two before that bye can be really telling on how far this team could go once we get a full week and a half to just rest it up.
It's true. And, you know, at the end of the day, this really is a quarterback's league. And the one thing that Drew Lock has, we haven't seen him play that much, but he has that quarterback swagger. This team believes in him. You can see how they rally around him, and he has got that confidence to lead this team and to do whatever it takes to win. And that, you know, as cheesy and cliche as that sounds, it's so important. It is so important because we've seen in Denver the past few years how, like, when they don't have that confidence. So I think him coming back in is going to provide an enormous boost to this team. And I think it's really going to fire up the guys, and it'll be fun to see how that all hopefully translates.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a game on Sunday. No, I'm sorry, not Sunday. We have a game on Monday now. So we play the Patriots. Seeing as how this game got moved from Sunday to Monday, my first part of this question is, do you think this will have an impact on the Broncos at all?
I think it will, in the sense that I think that this moving the game helps the Patriots. Moving the game gives the Patriots one more day to get Cam Newton back and potentially some of their other players. It also gives them one more day to practice because the Patriots have done completely virtual practices this week. So really everything about this benefits the Patriots. The other thing for the Broncos is now they look ahead, and coming up next week, it's going to be a short week. They take on the Dolphins in week 6, and they're going to be coming off a short week, a Monday night game. So the ripple effect moves forward as well. So in a lot of ways, this is a disadvantage to the Broncos. They got to fly to the East Coast, now play a Monday night game, come back, have a short week to prepare for Miami. So it doesn't really help the Broncos, I don't think, at all. I think it helps the Patriots.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. In regards to that, with all the changes and stuff, what do you think Denver needs to do to come out of Foxborough and get that second win of the year?
Philip Lindsay is going to be back, and I think they need to pound the run game, use Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon as a 1-2 punch, because you look at the Patriots defense, they have a really good defense this year, but the one area that's a little bit leaky is the run game. They're giving up a little over 115 yards per game on the ground. And so the fact that Philip Lindsay is back, I would say utilize the run, just pound the ball. And I think that's their best way to get a win, because this team is tied for second, the Patriots, in turnovers and takeaways. And as we talked about, Brett Rippon had 3 interceptions last week. So I think the biggest key will just be to run the ball, and try and use up the clock that way. And then it's difficult to talk about defense, because if it's Cam Newton or if it's Ryan Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham, it's completely different skill sets, right? So
yes.
that's kind of hard to analyze right now. But I think on the Broncos side, utilizing the run game and using both Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay a lot, I think will be a key for them.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, do you believe that they will be the ones that will make a huge impact on the game, or is there another player keeping an eye on that could potentially give the Broncos that extra boost?
I think the other player to keep an eye on for sure is Tim Patrick. He had a big game last week, and Tim Patrick has always kind of been there right behind Courtland Sutton. The fact that Courtland has been hurt this year has given Tim Patrick an incredible opportunity, and he is really seizing it. He's making the most of it, because, the Broncos drafted Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler as a complement to Courtland Sutton, not as replacements. So when Sutton got hurt, that changed the dynamic, because let's face it, Jeudy and Hamler are fast, but they don't instill fear in a safety running downhill to make a tackle. But Patrick has that big body. He's a big, able blocker where, a guy's going to think twice before, coming up and trying to hit him. And so I think he's going to be a key, especially Noah Fant's probably going to be out. So Tim Patrick kind of comes in as that big wide receiver, small tight end role almost. He's willing to block. He's a good blocker. So he fills both roles, helping the run game. And then also he's made some great catches. So I think Tim Patrick is a little bit of a gem. He might find himself getting a starting job out of this season. Who knows? But he'll be a big key for the Broncos.
All right, definitely. I'm actually really hoping that Tim Patrick can – I think the way I see it from that standpoint is that he's kind of like that gem you said of Courtland Sutton. Like, everyone knows who Courtland Sutton is, whereas no one really knows who Tim Patrick is. And to me, they kind of like play the same way. They're both those big-bodied receivers where if Drew Lock or whoever's starting at quarterback needs to throw up into the end zone, they can count on one of those guys to come up and just snatch the ball from the defender.
Right. And you get a guy like Tim Patrick out on the field, and the defenses have to respect that guy as a threat all the time. So that means you can give a couple more looks and get a little more, of a run option, give it to Melvin in the backfield. You can run a couple different routes, but you have to respect that he's down there. They can't ignore him, because you throw up the 50-50 ball and he's going to get it, hopefully, right? So
Right.
It makes it, defenses always have to keep an eye on a guy like that. And that can also really help Jerry Jeudy kind of have a bigger game, because then he won't be watched as much, because you got to keep an eye on Tim Patrick.
Definitely. Hopefully, with all this going on, that we can use the momentum, keep moving forward, and hope we can beat the Patriots.
Oh, that always sounds good, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially coming off of a big win against the Jets. And with especially with everything going on, it's always, no matter if Tom Brady is the quarterback. I feel like it's always satisfying for Broncos fans to get a win against probably one of the best coaches to ever coach in the NFL.
Absolutely. And fans or no fans, to go into Foxborough and get a win is just even better. That's, that'd be icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think that's all I've got for you today. I really want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me.
No, of course. I'm sorry it's taken so long for to actually make this happen, but I'm so happy that we finally did.
Yeah, no problem. If anything, it's a great early birthday present for me. So
when's
getting
your birthday?
something next Thursday.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you.
How old are you going to be?
31.
Oh, you're so young.
Nah.
You're just a young little balding.
All right. Here, let me just. So from Ty Walden, getting to chat with Romi Bean for the Denver Broncos Fanzone.